A woman in a red dress sat alone in the dim restaurant, her mascara smudged, her shoulders trembling as she fought not to cry. People passed her table and whispered, but none stopped, none except the exhausted single dad who had just finished a double shift and only wanted to get home to his daughter. He hesitated, then walked over and gently set down a napkin. "Whoever made you feel this small," he said softly, "doesn't deserve a seat at your table." He didn't know who she was. Didn't know what she owned. Didn't know the power she held. All he knew was that she looked broken. What he didn't expect was that this moment, this simple act of kindness, would change both their lives forever. He slid into the seat across from her only when she nodded, her voice too shaky to speak. She didn't tell him that people usually bowed when she entered a room. She didn't tell him her signature could buy the entire block. And she certainly didn't tell him that just minutes earlier she had been waiting for a man who promised he loved her, only to never show up. Tonight, she was just a lonely woman in a red dress. And to him, she was someone who deserved to be heard. He cleared his throat, awkward but kind. "I'm Noah. If talking helps, I can listen. Not great advice, but I'm pretty solid at being quiet." She gave a small, painful laugh, the first in hours. And in that moment, without knowing it, she began falling for the stranger with tired eyes who saw her not as a CEO, not as a billionaire, not as a name on skyscrapers, but simply as a human being trying not to break. That was the night everything began. She finally whispered her name, Aria, but left out her last name, the one printed on magazines, stocks, and corporate walls. To Noah, she was just Aria, the woman with trembling hands and a forced smile. He noticed she didn't eat her food, just pushed it around as if her heart had no space left to swallow anything. Noah wasn't a man who knew luxury. He raised his 8-year-old daughter Lily alone after his wife passed away. His world revolved around school lunches, cheap noodles, and bedtime stories. But he wasn't oblivious. He saw pain easily because he had lived with it. Aria tried to speak strong, but her voice cracked. "I waited 2 hours. He said he cared. He said this night mattered to him." Noah listened, leaning back as he rubbed his tired eyes. "Then he's a fool," he said plainly. "Some people walk away from gold because they're too busy chasing glitter." His words hit her harder than he expected. No one ever spoke to her like that, honest, simple, without fear of losing something. Aria wiped her tears, embarrassed. "I probably shouldn't be crying like this." Noah shook his head. "Crying isn't weakness. It's proof you still care. It's when you stop feeling anything that you should worry." She stared at him, this humble man who spoke with quiet wisdom. Everything about him felt safe, real, grounding. For the first time in months, she didn't feel like Aria Vale, the ice queen billionaire. She felt human. To repay his kindness, she asked to buy him coffee. He hesitated but said yes when she insisted. They walked out into the cool night, their steps slow, as if neither wanted to break the fragile connection forming between them. When Noah spoke about his daughter, his whole face softened. Aria felt something warm bloom in her chest. "You must be a wonderful father," she said. He shook his head lightly. "I'm just trying. Some days that feels like enough. Most days it doesn't." At the coffee shop, she listened to his stories, Lily's math homework disasters, how Noah worked 2 jobs, how he always worried he wasn't enough. She didn't pity him, she admired him. His life was full of struggle, yet he carried it with grace. She envied him, envied the freedom he had to feel deeply without being judged. And when he laughed, she realized she had forgotten what real laughter sounded like. When they parted ways, Noah told her gently, "You'll be okay. Someone like you? You'll find someone who shows up. And stays." She smiled, but her heart clenched because she already felt something for him, something soft and dangerous. She watched him walk away and wondered how a stranger could make her feel more seen in one night than the man she waited 2 hours for. She didn't know then that she would see Noah again. Didn't know Lily would adore her. Didn't know she'd find herself wishing she belonged in their little world. She didn't know that the strongest walls inside her would crack because of a man who didn't even know her last name. She only knew one thing: she wasn't done with him, not yet. The next morning, Noah woke up to Lily jumping on his bed, her hair wild like a little lion. "Daddy, you promised pancakes," he groaned, stretching. Another long shift waited for him, but promises were promises. By the time they were eating, a knock came at the door. Noah frowned. They rarely had visitors. When he opened it, his jaw nearly dropped. Baria stood there holding a box of pastries, her red dress replaced with a soft sweater, her eyes bright but nervous. "I hope this isn't strange," she said. "I just wanted to thank you properly. You helped me more than you know." Lily peeked around her dad's legs. "Daddy, who's the pretty lady?" Arya knelt down, smiling warmly. "I'm Arya." "Nice to meet you, Lily." In seconds, Lily dragged her inside, already chatting like they were best friends. Noah stood there stunned. Billionaire CEOs didn't show up at strangers' doorsteps. But he still didn't know who she really was. Arya spent the morning with them, helping cook, laughing with Lily, listening to Noah talk about how hard it was raising a child alone. She watched him move around the kitchen with gentle care, and every moment deepened her affection. Watching him be a father made her heart ache in the best way possible. When Lily accidentally spilled juice and burst into tears, Noah knelt and whispered, "It's just juice, sweetheart. The world doesn't end because of a little mess." Arya's chest tightened. She had grown up in a world where mistakes were not forgiven, they were punished. Noah's softness toward his daughter hit her deeply, painfully, beautifully. As the day went on, Arya's phone kept buzzing, her board, her assistants, her investors. She kept ignoring the calls. Noah noticed. "Busy day?" he asked lightly. She shrugged. "Just work." She didn't want to break the spell. She didn't want him to look at her differently. She wanted this tiny apartment, this messy breakfast table, this simple happiness to last just a little longer, but everything came crashing when Lily turned on the TV. There, on the news, was Arya Vale, billionaire CEO of Valetech, at a conference, large screen showing her face. Noah stared in shock, then looked at Arya. She froze, her cheeks flushing. The truth spilled into the room like cold water. "You're that Arya," he whispered. She nodded helplessly. "I didn't want you to treat me differently. Last night, you spoke to me like I mattered, not my money, not my power." Me. Noah felt overwhelmed. His life was simple. Hers was unreachable. "Arya. I'm just a single dad," he said quietly. "You're you." She stepped closer, her voice trembling. "Last night, you were the only one who saw me. Not the billionaire. Not the CEO. Just the lonely woman at the table. I don't want to lose you because of a title." Lily tugged Noah's sleeve. "Daddy, can she stay for lunch?" Noah looked into Arya's eyes. And for the first time, he saw not a billionaire, not a powerful leader, but a woman afraid of being unloved. He exhaled slowly. "Yeah," he said softly. "Yeah, she can stay." Arya smiled, small, hopeful, fragile. And in that moment, something changed. The distance between their worlds shrank, piece by piece. Not because she was a billionaire. Not because he needed saving. But because kindness had pulled two broken hearts toward each other, and neither of them wanted to let go.